Ladies, gentlemen, and internet trolls alike, welcome back to Fan Fridays, the show where I give outsiders an inside look into the mind of an MLB All-Star. A lot of people have suggested throwing a simulated game in the bullpen would help with first inning struggles. Do I think so? Do I think it's smart? Dumb? Find out after the break. Going to take some questions from YouTube first. Question number 1. MLB has a lot of young talent. Which young stars do you anticipate are the future faces and personalities of the sport that can possibly bring it more popularity? Okay. Pitchers usually aren't the faces of the game. It's usually a position player because the person's on the field, night in, night out. More exposure means they're more marketable and more people see them so they can become the face of the game. Guys like Juan Soto are extremely marketable, very young players, going to be around for a long time, and very, very talented. He's already kind of a star. I mean, he came out, he broke out in the World Series. Everybody kind of knows who he is. So the next star, the next face of the game that's going to bring it more popularity is going to be someone like my boy Nick Heath. I'll give Nick Heath a shout out. I can't wait to face you, Nick, this year and punch your ticket every single time I face you. But Nick has a great personality. He's fashion forward. He's culturally, he's cultured. He's like personality, like not scared to share his personality at all. He's talented on the field. He talks. He integrates it well with everybody. Like he's a fun person to be around. Guys like Joe Adele are very well spoken, very talented on the field, willing to share their personality and get out there and integrate with fans. So guys like that. Those are just a couple of the ones I know. Hunter Green's another one that's coming. Obviously, being in the Reds organization, I've gotten to know Hunter a little bit. I grew up in the same town as he did, in the same kind of circles, so I've known of him. We've kind of known of each other, but gotten to know each other a little bit better in the past year or so, and he's another one. He's very well spoken, very well educated, willing to put himself out there and talk about the things that he enjoys, whether it's fashion or it's shoes or it's culture or it's charity or it's baseball. It doesn't really matter. It's like whatever it is you enjoy, talk about it. It's fine. Build your brand. Let fans know what you're interested in and how you're spending your time and stuff like that. That's going to create a lot of interest, especially nowadays that the new generation of stars coming up are involved in social media from a very young age. They have large followings. I mean, there's a lot of minor leaguers now that have larger followings than big leaguers do on social media. That's more interaction time with fans. That's more ability to connect with people. That's more ways to build your brand. So that's what it's going to take to move the game forward. That's what it's going to take to be marketable and be the next face of baseball or superstar. And there's a lot of young kids coming that embrace it. And I think baseball needs it, and I'm excited for what the future holds in that. Question number 2. Cats or dogs? Did you have a pet growing up? If so, what kind of animal was it and what were their names? I had a lot of pets growing up. I had Cody and Thorby, 2 golden retrievers. From there we went to chinchillas. I had, so many different chinchillas. Viper was the name of my chinchilla, and I played on a travel team called the Vipers when I was a kid, so named him after my travel team. But we had chinchillas. We had like goldfish here and there, and then we had cats. And my cat Nupster, so her name was Peanut. That's how it started off because she was a gray cat with like a peanut-shaped like brown spot on her head, and she was, the best cat, just the absolute best. Constant companion. Just I love Nupster. She ended up having kitty cancer and leaving me to go hang out in heaven and live a better life. But Nupster was the best. So we had Angel as a cat. We had Tiger. We had Sophie. I grew up with a lot of pets. I love animals. Probably more of a cat guy than I am a dog guy. But there are some dogs that I definitely enjoy and love. Animals are awesome. I like all animals. Question number 3. What was your biggest light bulb moment during your development as a pitcher? I don't really have light bulb moments. I guess the biggest thing that you can say is when I developed my slider, and then I just had a huge leap in productivity from 2017 to 2018. But if you look at the back half of 2017, I was just as good as I was in 2018. Well, not as good, but very close to as good as I was in 2018. So I guess that's the light bulb, or like I like figured it out maybe, but I don't look at it as light bulb moments. I don't think, I don't think that's the way I go about the process. For me, it's incremental improvement every single day, learning something new, testing something, creating a feedback loop, talking to someone and having an idea connect in my head from something else that I can go work on or test or whatever. So it's not really like I show up to the field 10 days in a row and on the 11th day a light bulb goes off and I'm all of a sudden better. It's, constant day in, day out improvement. And so it's led me to develop a lot of things that have been vastly, vastly better than the things that were there before, more beneficial. I think I'm on the cusp of another couple of discoveries that I'll talk to you guys more about incoming videos, but I'm really excited for those. Developing pitch design. I coined the term pitch design by using high-speed cameras to actually design a pitch to do exactly what you want back in 2013, and now it's like pretty common in all of baseball and in most circles. Pitch design has become like a hot word. So just little things like that I don't think are big light bulb moments for me because it's cutting edge. I like to stay out in front of things and develop my own stuff, but I guess to other people they may look at it as cutting edge. So that's the best I can do for that answer. And now for some questions from my fans at trevorbauer.com. I appreciate you all. Thank you for checking out the website and submitting your questions there. Question number 4 comes from Nady McCready. So it's an interesting name if that's your actual name. But anyway, Nady says, I understand this is subjective, but how and to what extent is a pitcher affected by taunting coming from the crowd or the dugout? And yeah, it's subjective. I don't know. Some people might be more rattled by it. Some people aren't. I think it's funny. I enjoy it. I tell the story afterwards. It doesn't bother me on the mound. So I can only speak from my experience, and it doesn't bother me whatsoever. I would rather have people yelling at me, and that builds the atmosphere and raises the stakes. So I like that. Question number 5 comes from Lauren Turner, who asks, I've noticed over the past few seasons hitters are starting to adopt a more relaxed upright batting stance, i.e. Cody Bellinger and Andrew McCutchen. Have you been making any adjustments to your delivery in order to combat this trend in stances? Is there any certain type of batting stance that makes it more challenging for you to get an out? The answer is no. I don't adjust how I pitch based on how the hitter stands. And quite frankly, how the hitter stands doesn't really matter. It's about once their front foot hits and they're in the process of swinging, what are their swing mechanics like? That dictates a lot about what pitches they're able to hit. And then also their eyesight and approach and intellect and experience and all those things matter. But how they start, think about all the crazy batting stances in the history of the game. Craig Counsell is one of them, Gary Sheffield. You have like Cody Bellinger is very distinct. You have Hunter Pence, like Manny Ramirez. There's just so many different stances. But ultimately, there's certain things that make a good hitter, mechanically speaking, and those all happen when his front foot gets down. So perhaps the stance makes him get into a better position when he gets down, but the actual stance itself doesn't really matter. Question number 6 comes from Sean Gilmore, who says, as a pitcher, how much of a personal duel is it between you and the opposing pitcher on game day? Are you going out trying to beat him, or are you just focused on getting the other guys out? Most of the time, I'm focused on getting the other guys out, but if it's someone I know, like if I'm matching up with Clev or Bieber, you best believe I want the best of that matchup. I don't want to let them beat my team, and I don't want to let them have a better outing than I do. So when you know the person, you have a rivalry with the person, or sometimes when you just really don't like the person, or you really respect the person, there might be some things in there. Like I remember matching up with Scherzer, and I think I've matched up with Max a couple times, maybe only once, but I have a lot of respect for how Max goes about his business and how he pitches, and the quality and the consistency and the longevity. And I took it as a challenge. Like I want to get the best of him. I want to beat him. I want to win the duel. So that happens sometimes, but the vast majority of games, it's not about the other pitcher. It's about the hitters. And last but not least, question number 7 comes from James. And he says, lots of pitchers struggle in the first inning. What do you think of the former president of the Marlins, David Sampson's idea of throwing a simulated game in the bullpen before starting a game? Would facing a batter in the bullpen help? It might help some people. It might not. Everyone will agree that the bullpen is drastically different than the game. Something about when the hitter steps in, there's an umpire there, and it actually matters. Like The competition takes over, the adrenaline's flowing. You cannot replicate that in the bullpen. No matter how hard you try, a stand-in hitter, a guy taking swings, live BP even, if a guy's swinging off you, like, it all changes. It changes so much when you get in the game. So some things that go into first inning struggles, not getting warmed up enough, not throwing enough pitches to have, the feel for it, throwing too many pitches and being tired, elevated heart rate, or calming down too much. There's a lot of things, nerves, anxiety, stuff like that. But I personally don't think that throwing a simulated game or a simulated inning or facing a hitter in the bullpen would really make much of a difference, because it all changes when you get on the mound. Some of my best games, I've thrown no strikes in the bullpen, literally thrown nothing anywhere close to where I was trying to throw it. In fact, sometimes pitchers get rattled because they hit every spot in the bullpen and they're like, wow, I'm really locked in. And as soon as you realize that you're locked in, you're like, uh-oh, that means I'm not going to be locked in out there. And it can mess with your mentality. But yeah, I don't think there's value in it. To me, the pregame bullpen is just about, let me get loose. Let me feel like I'm in a position with my body that when I get on the mound, I'm able to compete. Let me warm up my pitches, get a feel for the slider, get a feel for the curveball, get a feel for the cutter. Okay, I feel it coming off my fingers, ready to go. So hopefully that answered your question. And with that being said, I've answered all of your questions for today, but I have a question for you. This year, every game is worth 2.7 times what normal games are worth. 60 games, 162 games. Every game is 2.7 more times valuable. So does that make you more excited for this season, less excited for the season, or does it not really matter to you? You're going to have, if your team loses 5 or 6 games in a row, that would be like losing 20 games. No, that's terrible math. That would be like losing 14 games in a row, something like that. So, but if your team goes on a 10-game winning streak, that's like winning 27 in a row, value-wise. So every game means more. There's going to be a lot of higher, importance put on the games. So does that make you excited as a fan or not as excited as a fan? Let me know in the comments below. Leave me a comment about something else if you'd like. If you'd like a shout out in a future video, head on over to trevorbauer.com, sign up for my email list, and submit your question on the homepage. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Help me on my way to 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2020. And that's all for today. I'm going to get this video edited, get it up for you, and see you guys in the next one. Baseball's back. Super exciting.